Hey noble ones, welcome to Metatron's Protectorate. Today we've got an incredible unboxing and episode 5 of my series. We've got a Super Nintendo American version in box. Okay, welcome back. So you know the drill, just like with every episode of this series. First, we're going to unbox it, we're going to test it with a bunch of games, and then after we do that, we'll come back here and I'll tell you all about my personal experience with the Super Nintendo, why I love it, why this version, and everything else. So without further ado, let's go. Okay, welcome back. Well, I hope that you enjoyed that and it was a nice trip down memory lane, and it surely was for me. So first of all, I'm really happy that this version, it's in excellent condition, by the way, not pristine conditions when it comes to cosmetic conditions of the console. It's a tiny little bit dirty, but that can be easily cleaned. What I'm interested in, mostly in this case, is the fact that the box is in fantastic conditions. Everything works perfectly, and for me, that's great already, because I love collecting the boxes as well. This is the American version. I will be unboxing a European one too, but I need to wait for it to arrive. But we will have a European Super Nintendo in box to unbox as well very soon. And of course, the European one is the one that I have experience with, that I have memories with, although then again, I never actually owned a Super Nintendo. Because you see, when it comes to 8-bit era, I was absolutely a Nintendo boy. I started with the NES, which we have recently made an unboxing with for a action set complete in box. You'll find links to all the other series. In fact, I might make an actual playlist for once. Professional YouTuber. But then I upgraded to the Sega Mega Drive, which in America would have been the Genesis, but being in Italy, in Sicily, that's where I was brought up, it would be the Mega Drive. And my cousin did too. But the thing is that he, being 6 years older than me, at one point he also got a Super Nintendo. And that's when I got to play the Super Nintendo for the first time, played a lot of games. We had Mario World, finished it together. He had Street Fighter. Don't think at the time, maybe that was there. I know there was a porting for Street Fighter on the Mega Drive. I just didn't have it for some reasons. Mortal Kombat, of course, was present in both systems. So anyways, I tried a lot of different. Donkey Kong is one of those that I remember fondly. Prince of Persia. And then I played all of these games. And I still remember how impressed we were with the likes of Star Fox, which in America would be Star Wings. That was because it was 3D, right? Even though at the time, I don't think we called it 3D. We didn't even know that. We, for some reasons, called it like virtual graphics. I don't know why we had that term. I'm not sure if it was a marketing idea, but it was 3D. It had the Super FX chip. It was polygonal, low poly, of course, but it was still something that, for whatever reason, anyways, it was a fantastic 2D machine with a little bit of 3D capabilities when it comes to Super Nintendo games that had the expansion set chip, or you could have fake 3D, such as with Donkey Kong Country and Killer Instinct, just to mention two, where you really had pre-rendered graphics, so original 3D that would models that would turn into sprites and then functioned on the Super Nintendo, but still kind of give you that illusion, even though you couldn't move them in a 3D way, like you would, for instance, in the next generations of consoles, the 32-bit era with the PlayStation 1. But still, you know, it kind of gave you that illusion that, wow, look at these graphics. Okay, so what I can see here, Super Nintendo Entertainment System, it was released in 1990 in Japan and South Korea. Usually, I'm not a huge fan of Wikipedia, but when it comes to these very basic pieces of information, it's usually accurate. So that's why I'm reading this right now. So it says North America 91, Europe 92. It makes sense because we would always get stuff afterwards when it comes to Europe and Sicily, even later than that. Not necessarily like a year later, but it's just the shops in Sicily, I guess they didn't have as much demand. So I remember that we got ours probably in something like 95. So when the machine was already somewhat, but maybe not 95 though, maybe 93. You know what? I don't remember. Whatever. We had it in the 90s, and it was a fantastic console. And if you see the three different, and we've got to, you know, speak about the elephant in the room, the fact that I have now showcased the American version. Now, here's the thing. Yes, for me, this is the Super Nintendo, meaning that the European version, which is almost identical to the Japanese one, with just a few minor differences when it comes to, for instance, the name of the logo. Yeah, for me, this is the Super Nintendo, the one at the bottom, and it is also the one that it's the best looking for me. But that's most likely because it's the one I associate with my own memories. Given, I do believe that it is objectively better to have the 4 different colors on the controller and the symbol in the European and Japanese version. So you've got green, blue, yellow, and red. I just like colorful stuff than having these just 2 hues of purple, I suppose, with the American version. I believe they did it so that people, I think that the idea behind this new design of Nintendo of America was the fact that they wanted the Super Nintendo to not be seen as a toy. And that's something that they tried to do with the NES as well, if you remember, because with the NES, that's why in America it looks, and in Europe, it looks more like a VHS player that you open like this rather than the way it looks in the original Famicom for Japan. It's because they didn't want it to look like a game thing. They wanted it to look like a entertainment system, which is why, you know, more like it's good for adults too. Just get it, buy it. And similarly, I think in Europe and Japan, we liked this. We liked the colors. But maybe in America, they thought that if they went with these colors, they may be reminiscent of Toys R Us, reminiscent of stuff for children. And so they're like, no, this is a serious machine. We want to sell it to the teenagers too, not just the kids. And so they did that. I don't know if that was a good call. I haven't got a clue. at the end of the day, I don't think it's ugly. I hear a lot of people say, if they are into this one, they say, nah, the Super Nintendo, the American one is so ugly. I don't need to do that. I like it. Clearly, this wasn't designed for me. It was designed for Americans. And for what I can read, oftentimes when Americans talk about these, they tell me, oh yeah, I like this one more. So at the end of the day, it's fine. I think a lot of it has to do with your personal nostalgia. But I don't think it's an ugly design, given I prefer the smooth, rounded edges as opposed to the square edges. And I also think, I mean, the purple buttons are a nice touch, I'll give you that. It's just that this one, I think it's simpler as a design, and therefore I like it more. The reset button being kind of, yeah, these... I also like the eject button in the middle, but then again, this one has one too, which took me a minute to figure out. I just ripped the cartridges off when I was testing. I'm sure some of you cringed at that. But anyways, I think they're all really good looking. The one I don't particularly like is the original Famicom for Japanese version. The one that is kind of that Bordeaux, burgundy and white-ish cream. Not a huge fan of the looks of that, but apart from that, I think this is also good looking. I just personally prefer the looks of the European version, and I'm really looking forward to get that one so we can unbox it together and have some fun. And if you're curious, what happens if you connect a European controller into an American Super Nintendo? Would it work? The answer is yes. I absolutely tested it. So the fact that the controllers are different colors is just a cosmetic difference. There is absolutely no difference when it comes to the connectors, and they work perfectly. Now, given if you connect an American console to a European TV, there is going to be a problem because European is slower and American systems are faster, 60 frames per second rather than 50. So there is an actual difference in speed of the games, and I don't think it would work. You might get like a black and white if you do the wrong, because they had, you know, the NTSC versus PAL and all that. But apart from that, the systems are identical apart from that. So anyways, it's a fantastic console. So happy that I added one to my collection in box, and I will be playing it because here's the thing, I'm not just a collector, I'm a player, I'm a gamer. And so these consoles are gonna go, once they get unboxed, I keep the box to show it off, I guess, and to display purposes, let's say it professionally, and I'm going to put the system on the table of the systems and connect it to as many CRTs that I can find. I'm still on a hunt. I've got one for now. Well, I've got a lot of monitors that are CRTs, but when I'm talking about the actual TV, I'm going to connect as many systems as possible to these TVs so that they're always ready to play. Push the button, connect the controller, have fun. That's how it's going to be in my house. I also played a lot of Super Nintendo at my neighbor's place, literally on the floor above mine, because once again, I had a Mega Drive, he didn't, but he had a Super Nintendo, so occasionally either we would swap console for a week, so that he would have a Mega Drive with all my games, I would have a Super Nintendo with all of his games, and we could have fun and then return the consoles, or sometimes we would just play together, you know, and I played a lot of Super Nintendo, so I have a lot of memories even though I didn't own one. I don't know why I didn't buy one, to be honest. I don't think I ever asked my parents. If I had asked, I think they would have got it to me, but probably they thought I was happy with the Mega Drive anyways, and I was. And I did get to play the Super Nintendo with my cousin, so at the end of the day, that's probably why they didn't do that. But I want to say, Super Nintendo, what a fantastic machine. Let's read a little bit about it. Anyways, did you have a Super Nintendo? Do you think the American version is the better looking one? Do you think the European version is the better looking one? Absolutely let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please remember to subscribe to the channel. Let's hit that 10,000 subscribers mark soon, I hope. And I will be seeing you on my next video tomorrow. Thank you very much for watching. And remember, the Metatron has spread his wings. Goodbye. If you're enjoying this video so far, please take a moment to check out my Patreon page. With as little as a $5 support, you can help us ensure that we can continue to produce high quality and high researched content. And at the same time, you get access to polls, extra videos, unlisted streams, and much more. Thank you so much.